Scholars on Daniel 9:27. Grammar. Lately I've received quite a few messages commenting on Daniel 9:27. It seems there are pastors and Bible teachers that need to go back to grade school and get their grammar straight. Furthermore, they are promoting ideas that have no foundation in scholarship and flatly deny the plain reading of Daniel chapter 9. Since I've made quite a few videos on the basic rules of grammar governing pronouns and antecedents, I'll not repeat myself. However, I think it is beneficial to highlight a number of highly trained theologians who concur with what I have taught so far on this subject. So if you disagree with me, you also disagree with some of the greatest scholars of Protestantism. Charles John Ellicott, 1819 to 1905. Ellicott was an esteemed English theologian and churchman. He was Dean of Exeter, then Bishop of Gloucester and Bristol. He studied at Stamford School and St. John's College, Cambridge, and he was Professor of Divinity at King's College, London, and Halcyon Professor of Divinity at Cambridge. Here's what Dr. Ellicott said of Daniel 9:27, starting with the one who confirms. Ellicott first mentions two sources that reference the 1 week and the covenant, presumably referring to Messiah's week and the confirmation of the Old Testament covenant by Messiah. He goes on to say, quote, "Others take it to be the anti-Christian prince spoken of in the last verse, an opinion which derives some support from Daniel 7:25. According to this interpretation, the covenant refers to the agreement which the prince makes with the large number of persons who become apostates. But the word covenant does not apply to any such agreement, but rather to a covenant with God. And in Daniel 9:26, it is the people of the prince and not the prince which is the subject of the sentence. It is therefore more appropriate to take Messiah as the subject. During the last closing week of the long period mentioned, Messiah, though cut off, shall confirm God's covenant." Unquote. This is the grammatical understanding that I've taught in more detail than Ellicott in previous lessons. It is a product of the school of grammar typically understood by those educated in the British system of grammar and literature, which is considered the very best in the world, and at the time of Ellicott, it was undisputed. Next, Albert Barnes, 1798 to 1870. Dr. Barnes was schooled at Hamilton College and Princeton Theological Seminary, and pastored the Presbyterian Church in Morristown, New Jersey, and the First Presbyterian Church of Philadelphia. He is well known for his Bible commentaries and notes published in 14 volumes. He begins by pointing us toward the idea that there is an ethical way to approach the grammar of Daniel 9:27, and that there are some fundamental and universally accepted doctrinal understandings that lead in the direction that Messiah is the confirmer of the covenant. Quote, "The first inquiry then is, what is the fair meaning of the language? Or what would one who had a correct knowledge of the proper principles of interpretation understand by this? Now, in regard to this, while it may be admitted perhaps that there would be some liability to a difference of view in interpreting it with no reference to the event or no shaping of its meaning by the event, the following things seem to be clear." Unquote. Next, Barnes, taking the text in its most plain and contextual reading, explains Messiah's confirming of the covenant. Quote, "That the 1 week would comprise 7 years, immediately succeeding the appearance of Messiah, or the 62 weeks, and that there was something that he would do in confirming the covenant, or establishing in the principles of religion."